everybody, we're back to teach another lesson.
Okay, so for the engaged, you want to make sure that you show the video, and we use the Bugs Life video in order to get their attention and explain what's going on and catch their attention for the rest of the lesson.
And today we're actually going to watch a little video before we begin. So are you guys excited?
Yay!
Okay, let's watch a video.
I'm never gonna make a difference.
Me neither. I'm a royal ant and I can't even fly yet. I'm too little.
Oh, being little's not such a bad thing.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It's two.
Is not.
It's two.
Is not.
It's
Is
two.
not.
It's
Is not.
two.
Is not. Oh, a seed. I need a seed. Here. Pretend that that's a seed.
It's a rock.
Oh, I know it's a rock. I know, but let's just pretend for a minute that it's a seed, all right? We'll just use our imaginations. Now, do you see our tree? Everything that made that giant tree is already contained inside this tiny little seed. All it needs is some time, a little bit of sunshine and rain, and voila!
This rock will be a tree.
Seed to tree. You've got to work with me here, all right? Okay. Now, you might not feel like you can do much now, but that's just because, well, you're not a tree yet. You just have to give yourself some time. You're still a seed.
But it's a rock.
I know it's a rock! Don't you think I know a rock when I see a rock? I've spent a lot of time around rocks!
Okay, so what did we see in the video? We saw ants talking about seeds. Now, what do we know about seeds? Let's take 30 seconds to talk to our shoulder buddy about everything we know about seeds. Right, everybody, hook 'em.
Horns.
Okay, so what are some of the things that we came up with? Seeds are small, they're different shapes and sizes, and they help us grow trees and different types of plants, so they're all around us. We're going to be passing around a bag full of weird seeds for you to feel. Do not take them out of the bag, just see them through the bag. Now, what are some of the questions that you might have about the seeds? Why are they different colors, shapes, sizes? So make us curious to know about them.
So, you just said curious.
I did.
Isn't that a very important part of learning? That's why we're all here, right? To find out why stuff works.
Exactly. So as scientists, we must not only be curious, but do something about our curiosity. So we have to find that out. And so that's what we're going to be doing today, is learning a little bit more about seeds.
So that brings us to our question of the day, which is, what do plants need to start growing? And for the explorer, when opening up the seed, you want to poke it here in order for it to open up better, in this little circle. And you want to make sure that they're observing into two halves and observing each part that we described.
Now we're going to be passing out job cards. Make sure you get a different job from what you got last week.
Today we're going to observe the seeds by using a method called dissection. So, someone tell me what dissection means. Okay, so it means to cut open something and study it more better. So this is what scientists use in order to explore things. So you can see dissection up on the board. It's cutting up something to see its parts on the inside. Now, we are going to be looking for these parts of the seed that we cut open. So which is the food, the baby plant, and the seed coat. So whenever we're cut open our seed, you need to observe for these specific parts of the plant. And we're going to go over a few safety things. So we're going to be getting toothpicks, so be careful not to poke yourself or anybody else. And we're also going to be getting gel, so be careful not to spill it or in any way.
Great. So today we're going to be working with lima beans that I have here for everyone to see. It's very important for you guys to think like scientists, because that is our most important rule. So first off, you have to analyze the seed, see how it is on the outside, and in your worksheets that we passed around, you're going to be drawing what it looks on the outside, and after we dissect it, we're going to be seeing what it's inside. Today, we're going to be using a hand lens, so what it's going to help us do is to watch closely all the details in our seed once we dissect it. So make sure you make a diagram of your seed or a drawing of your seed on your worksheet before we dissect it with the toothpick. But don't do anything until you're indicated to do so. So we're going to be talking about the parts of the seed right now.
So, first of all, what does the outside feel like? Okay, so it's wet, dry, maybe. Alright, is it smooth or wrinkly? And as you can tell, it is smooth, so we're going to cut it open and you're going to try to locate the different parts of the seed. So, try and find the embryo. And which the embryo should look like this part right here. And then
Okay, so the first part is the hard part on the outside called the seed coat. Can everybody say that with me? Seed coat.
Seed coat.
There you go. Now the seed coat, as we can feel, is tough, and what it does, it protects the inside of the seed until it has the conditions for it to grow. So it needs water, soil. We're going to be talking about this throughout the lesson. Now the second part is the rootlet. Can you say that with me?
Rootlet.
Rootlet. So the rootlet is the support that will help the plant grow and hold it into the ground. Now a very important part that we can see in our diagram is the food source. Can you say that with me? Food source. There we go, second graders. So the food source is what the seed uses up until it is strong enough to have leaves and produce its own food with leaf and light. So the final part that the seed needs to grow, of course, it's soil. And there are 4 parts that are very important for soil that we're going to be talking about. But they're basically minerals, organic material, water, and air. So,
okay, so we're going to hand out a cup to each student. Now, in this cup, we're going to plant our seeds. So we're going to have some gel, and we're going to plant our seeds inside. So he was mentioning soil earlier. So what do you think soil is? Like, what do you drink in order, or what do you often drink? So people drink, milk or water, and as you know, milk helps us grow and makes us strong. That's kind of what soil is. Soil is what plants need in order to grow and be bigger and stronger. So, like my partner said, we have 4 parts of the soil. It's the minerals, the organic material, the water, and the air. And we're going to explore a little bit more right now. So what are minerals? So minerals is little pieces of sand that in the soil that helps the plants grow. It's very important. It's probably the most important part of the soil.
what other things do you think the plants need to grow other than minerals?
Water.
Water, exactly. Air, maybe. A very important one is called organic material. Can you say that with me?
Organic material.
Thank you. So organic materials are nutrients that are made out of living things that are found in the soil. So some examples might be sticks or dead bugs or any other component that was once made out of a living thing. Can you think of any other examples? Great. So now we mentioned water earlier. Now water is a very, very important part for the seed to grow. Why do you think it's important? Exactly. And so it carries nutrients like a fork carries it to your mouth. So it's very important for it to grow. Now, when you're watering your plant, make sure never to use too much water. So you should water it every other day. Much more water will not mean that it will grow faster or stronger. It can actually hurt the plant. Now, another important detail is that the plants absorb the water through the roots and through the roots that are in contact with the soil. So it's not exactly you're watering the leaves or the upper part of the plant, but you should focus on watering the soil on which the plant is rooted into. Now, air is a very important component in the soil. This might be a little complicated idea, but what it does, it just makes sure that there's enough room for the plant to grow. If there wasn't any air in the soil, it would be too compact and too tightly packed together, so the roots would not be able to move around and the plant wouldn't be able to grow. Today we're not going to be using soil, as Orlando mentioned. We're going to be using growing gel. Now this has the properties of soil that we have mentioned, but it will allow us to see through, so we can see how the plants are growing.
Okay, so has anybody ever seen a tree growing kind of on the side of a cliff? And what do you observe when you see that? So you can see the roots growing off to the side from the tree, as seen in this picture here. So why do you think that might be important in order for us to plant our seed that way? Okay, so you can be able to see how the root is growing, and you can observe it better by having it off to the side. So that's how we're going to plant our seed today. And how deep do you think we need to put the seed into the gel? Okay, so we're going to put it in about 1 inch deep, and that will help it grow more efficiently.
You're also going to be taking some seeds for you to plant. So this could be either carrot seeds or mustard seeds. And make sure to have the right conditions for it to grow. For the explain, just make sure you use your classroom management tools such as wait time for every question, and maybe one of you walk around, and proximity to students that might not be too engaged. And make sure to, when you're asking the questions, to wait for their answers before you interrupt and carry on with the lesson. Okay, so now that we planted our seeds, we're going to go through the parts of the seed again, just so that we're sure that we're all on the same level of understanding. So can someone tell me what the outer part of the seed is?
Seed coat.
The seed coat, exactly. And what does it do? It protects the seed until it's strong enough and has the conditions for it to grow. Now, how does the seed coat compare the one that we gave you to dissect, so the one that was in water, to the one that you planted? Did they feel different? Yes, the one we planted was dry and tough. That's because it's not ready for the parts inside to grow out of it. But the ones that we dissected, it was mushy and softer. Why do you think it's important for the seed coat to soften up when there's water? Exactly, so the plant may be able to grow when the right conditions are there. So,
okay, so again we mentioned the food source. So what do you think? What is the food source? And especially how it sounds is where the plant gets its food from in order to grow. And we also talked about the rootlet. What was the rootlet, or what was it used for? And it was used to provide nutrients and water to the plant, and it's also used to help support it as well. And another thing we mentioned was the embryo, and we can see here was the embryo, and if anyone remember what that was? And it was the beginning of the plant. Basically, it looks like a little leaf within the seed is where this plant begins to grow.
alright, now that we've identified the parts of the seed, why don't we talk to our shoulder buddies for a minute and develop 3 things that plants need to grow. So 3 conditions that need to happen for the plants to be able to grow from a seed. And, okay, so what are some of the conditions that we've come up with? Good, we need water, soil, air, minerals, and so on and so forth. So, now what are some seeds that you have seen before? What are some kind of plants that we have seen before? So, that's right, plants are all around us, and they all come from different seeds, such as the ones that we showed you today. For the elaborate, the purpose of showing the farming tools and the development of farming through history is for them to relate it to something beyond just planting one seed. So just make sure that they're questioning and relating it to other parts of their lives. You could go on and ask them a little bit more about the plants that they see in their everyday lives or something of the sort.
As you can see from the pictures, farming has changed over the years to make it a lot more easier. Before, we just had people farming by hand, throwing seeds on the floor, and then you can see it, they went from plowing to put the seeds in, and then from using the horse to plow, and now we have big machines that do all the work for us. So it's very easy now.
The evaluate, make sure you use waiting time and that everyone in the classroom has their thumb up or down before revealing the answers. So be patient, but also have everyone doing the same thing and engaged at the same time. Okay, so now that we've gone through our lesson, you're going to have an opportunity to show off what you know. And the way it's going to work, we're going to have everybody in the room give a thumbs up if you think the question is true, or thumbs down if you think the question is false. So we're going to read it out loud. Number one, it is important to water the growing seeds once every other day. So we're gonna wait until everybody has their answer around the room. Okay, so we're gonna reveal the answer. So it is true, it is important to water the growing seeds once every other day, and not every day, or not ever. So we're gonna go through the rest of our questions this way.